And it's really no different than doing it here because we don't know all the people who are showing up. So, all right. All right. And good. And we're live. Hearing myself. Okay, good. So we're doing it live. We have 6 people in the chat. All right, lots of news to talk about. Like I said, I don't know how long I'll be on for because I'm feeling under the weather. But Demetrius, how was your week?
Well, started off pretty shitty, but pretty nice now. How about yourself?
Good, good. And Suzette, how was your week?
Wow. Okay. I'm going to be as brief as possible because we're live, right? Okay.
Mhm.
I got a second opinion. I'm not going to talk about specifics, okay? But 2 of the 3 things I said I had, I do not have. Period. End. However, there's been a lot of damage, and I'm going to be talking to a medical malpractice attorney about my situation because of what happened. The doctor that confirmed and is treating me for what there is evidence of instead of what there isn't evidence of is masterclass, a top tier teaching physician in 2 of the best disciplines ever. And I'm madly, madly in love with them. So I
Nice.
don't know. I want him as my doctor, but I want to date him. I mean, seriously, I'm not joking.
Look at you go, Suzette. And all
And the
right,
thing of it is, he knows it.
cool. All right. So, Christina, how are you doing?
Good. Tonight, I'd like to talk about the downtown Los Angeles
Yep. We'll get to that.
Yes.
race.
Yep, we'll get to that. Um, then Carrie, how is Carrie tonight?
I had a great week. I finally, well, yeah, things were screwed up, obviously, and I didn't feel well last week then, so all's good.
You're coming in a little choppy.
Kind of edgy.
All right.
Oh,
There we go.
is that better?
Yes.
Distance.
Good. Caesar, how are you doing?
I am doing chipper. I
Excellent.
honestly, I feel recharged. I was listening to this song called New Path from Gabriel and Dresden, and for me, it just it recharges me. A new path is made, and um, that's what I need right now.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. And I caught a bit of a respiratory virus and it tripped my asthma and it's going under control right now owing to lots of meds. I'm on 2 types of steroids. I'm on a decongestant and also an anti-allergy pill. And if you have asthma and you catch a basic cold, you understand what I'm going through. It sucks. And I've just been kind of under the weather. And I also started a new book. I'm reading this one. Big, thick book, lovely book. It's Anatomy Evil by Michael Stone, MD. It talks about the neuroscience, and he's a psychiatrist. It talks about the neurology of psychopathy and evil. We'll talk about this eventually. We'll actually have a book club on this, and maybe I'll try to get the author to come on to be a speaker, or once we get more cash coming in and we get in-person events, have the author come down to talk about the anatomy of evil. And the first chapter is really interesting. It talks about evil being natural versus human evil, and what the definition of evil is, and how there's not really a good definition of evil. Looking at religious texts, evil is just something that disrupts the natural order. That's often what religious texts tell us. But at the same time, we have evils such as Auschwitz, and going into talking about what we're going to talk tonight, including the raids in Los Angeles and San Diego. I forget who said it. I've heard it multiple times this week about someone commenting on Elon Musk, that Elon Musk sought to make himself richer and in the process killed children in Africa. This is just from this last week. And I'm still organizing the news articles for tonight. I have some already organized. But, we're going to have a great chat tonight. And we're live on YouTube. And nobody's watching except for me. All right. Our YouTube channel is Humanist Association of San Diego. And we get like a dozen people watching after it's broadcast. So good. People are seeing what we're doing. We're going to build into that. Additionally, coming up, our Sunday series is back. And last week was, God, what did we talk about last week? Immigration was our exploration last week, immigration. And tomorrow, our exploration is in men's mental health. We have a crisis of men's mental health in this country. That 1/4 of men are experiencing severe mental health issues, and yet a significant number of men do not pursue mental health regimen to help ameliorate the situation. So we're going to be talking about men's mental health. And we'll talk about a crisis of masculine role models, leading people to go look at things like Andrew Tate, for example. Anyway, welcome. Stuff to talk about. We'll get to the LA thing shortly. I have some of that already together, and Demetrius brought up the possibility of using the Insurrection Act, and much like the whole bullshit on habeas corpus, legally the Insurrection Act would not apply to this because this would not be considered an insurrection. Trump's thing on January 6th would be considered an insurrection.
Mhm.
But we'll talk about that. All right. There was a case up in Northern California. A San Jose doctor has sued a Los Gatos restaurant, claiming that its Dragon Balls appetizer was so spicy it burned her internally, and has dropped her lawyer and is representing herself in the court case. Harjasleen Walia in July 2023 filed a lawsuit in Santa Clara County Superior Court alleging that she incurred permanent damages and will forever be damaged by the $11 chicken meatball dish at Coup d'etat in downtown Los Gatos. The appetizer burned Walia's vocal cords, esophagus, and the inside of her right nostril, the lawsuit alleges. The lawsuit claimed that the Dragon Ball dish was advertised as spicy, and that Walia asked her server to make it less spicy because she does not tolerate spicy foods. The server said the chef would make the dish less spicy, the lawsuit alleged.
And this, Jason, this is so reminiscent of the woman that had spilled her apparently like scalding coffee on her lap from McDonald's.
You would think that, but no, actually, do you know the real background behind that? That's an interesting thing to talk about. So, the real background behind that: a grandmother and grandson, a grown man grandson, and his 83-year-old grandmother stopped at a McDonald's, and they parked their car. She opened the lid of the coffee to pour some cream and sugar inside of it. The McDonald's had complaints before, and I think even a few criminal complaints about people getting burned because they kept their coffee at near boiling temperatures. And this elderly woman who splashed coffee in her lap incurred third-degree burns from the boiling, scalding water in her groin because the coffee splashed And this was a McDonald's that had been charged before with injuring its patrons, and all they did was they asked for medical expenses because the coffee was so hot that it gave third-degree burns to the lap of this 83-year-old woman. It was not a frivolous lawsuit, but comedians on television, other people tried to make that one out to seem like a frivolous lawsuit. She required extensive hospital stays and skin grafts, and she nearly died from the shock of it. And all the family asked for was a reimbursement for medical bills. And she wasn't the first one who got serious burns from the coffee. Coffee should not be served at boiling temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that case was. She wasn't driving. It wasn't negligence on her part. Other people had been seriously burned by that coffee, and they had been requested to.
I don't want my coffee to be lukewarm.
No, there's a difference between coffee and coffee can be served at 165 degrees as opposed to 205 degrees.
Right.
And that was the differential. If it were served at 165 degrees, she might have incurred some second-degree burns, but a third-degree burn is a full thickness burn requiring skin grafts. In the family, you're not expecting to get boiling coffee, and you're not expecting that. You're expecting to get something around 165 degrees. Like when you're getting a latte, the temperature of the milk when you steam the milk is 140 degrees, and the little trick when you're a barista is you put your hand on the milk container, the little stainless steel pitcher the milk comes in. The moment it becomes slightly too hot to touch, that's when you know it's about 140 degrees for the steamed milk to make the latte. And like I said, the situation with that is that the older woman there, she burned herself when other people had scalded themselves with burns from that particular McDonald's coffee. So it was that McDonald's rejected paying out medical bills, and then the lawyer went for them because that was not the first time that had happened, and if they'd been warned about turning down the heat of their coffee, and someone else got burned after other incidents and got burned with third-degree burns, then and McDonald's was petty, and plus all that they asked the jury to award in that particular case was 1 day's worth of McDonald's coffee sales from the entire McDonald's corporation. It wasn't.
She got a hash brown out of this.
Let's see.
Because that's it. I admonish that. Like I hate that we live in this litigious world where everyone's gonna sue just because of something that was like, let's just be honest, it was her fault. She spilled the coffee on herself. And that had nothing to do with the restaurant.
No, the restaurant had been warned to lower the temperature of their coffee. You don't serve coffee at a boiling temperature because people will burn themselves. And here were the burns. There you go. These are the burns she incurred from boiling water being splashed into her lap.
She had clothes on at the time, I assume, right?
No, she did. No, her and her grandson were parked. She lifted the lid and it splashed her. And that was the problem. It's that, here we go. Also known as McDonald's coffee case, is a highly publicized 1994 product liability. A jury found McDonald's liable for injuries the customer suffered when she spilled hot coffee on herself and awarded the customer $2.8 million. The plaintiff, Stella Liebeck, a 79-year-old woman, purchased hot coffee at a McDonald's restaurant, accidentally spilled it in her lap. and suffered third-degree burns in her pelvic region. She was hospitalized for 8 days while undergoing skin grafting, followed by years of medical treatment. But Liebeck sought to settle with McDonald's for $20,000 to cover medical expenses. When McDonald's refused, Liebeck's attorney filed suit in U.S. District Court. Liebeck's attorneys argued that 180 to 190 Fahrenheit McDonald's coffee was defective and more likely to cause serious injury than coffee at any other establishment. The jury found that McDonald's was 80% responsible for the incident. They awarded Liebeck a net $160,000 in compensatory damages to cover medical expenses and $2.7 million in punitive damages. The burn incident, let's see.
Who puts coffee that hot anywhere? I mean, come on.
I would say, no, it's nice to have it hot because
Well, there's hot in
it
180 degrees, for Christ's sakes. Are you kidding me? Boiling?
well, you don't want it boiling, but
Well,
you definitely
it
want
was.
it to be. You want it to be hot enough, so that, like, say for instance, you drive away, and now your coffee it's going to be lukewarm. It's going to be.
You saw the burns on her legs, didn't you, Caesar?
I saw the burns on her legs, but
That
Come
ain't
on.
regular hot coffee there. Doing that.
well, but she also. This was self-inflicted. I feel that she did this to herself. And the fact that, like, nobody helped her, like, if she's a 79-year-old woman, there should have been someone there to help her, like put the creamer in, or put the stir stick in. I just don't feel that
Well, okay.
there's any restitution.
Well, but the thing is, there's a negligence that comes into play here, and that negligence comes into play from the fact that just looking up a quick Google search at the optimal temperature for black coffee is 150 degrees, not 190 degrees. There's a huge difference. You'll scald your hand. You might get a second-degree burn from 150 degrees. Let's see. The burn incident, February 27th, 1992, Liebeck ordered a 49-cent cup of coffee from a drive-through window at a McDonald's, 5001 Gibson Boulevard, Southeast in Albuquerque. Liebeck was in the passenger seat of a 1989 Ford Pro, which did not have cup holders. Her grandson parked so Liebeck could add cream and sugar to the coffee. She placed the coffee cup between her knees and pulled the far side of the lid toward her to remove it. In the process, she spilled the coffee cup in her lap. Liebeck was wearing cotton sweatpants, which absorbed the coffee and held it against her skin, scalding her groin area. Liebeck went into shock and was taken to an emergency room at a hospital. She suffered third-degree burns on 6% of her skin and lesser burns over 16%. She remained in the hospital for 8 days. So looking at that,
That's her own goddamn fault.
Caesar,
Honestly, like,
Caesar,
yes.
Caesar. Listen, accidents happen. It's an accident accident.
Well,
No one did anything on purpose.
everybody's missing the important question here.
Period.
On purpose. You're right.
How was her egg
Nobody
McMuffin?
did anything on purpose. However, at a certain point, you have to take
Actually, no,
accountability.
wait. I say the woman didn't do anything on purpose, but McDonald's obviously intentionally kept that coffee hot. That's intentional.
Yep. They were already reprimanded and were told to turn down the temperature, and they did not do that. So they are liable.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, how was her egg McMuffin?
Didn't say. I don't think she ordered. She just wanted a cup of coffee. And the
I
thing is
think
that
I
I'm
think
hearing the
there-
background noise.
Yeah, we're
it's like the favorable comment that we have here. This proverb now is that the cards are not in your favor, as Donald Trump loves to say, and the cards were not in her favor. And I think that at a certain point, we have to take responsibility and take ownership for our discretions.
Well, I think most people here disagree with you. But okay.
It depends on the situation, Caesar. I mean, you can't lump it all in one blanket situation. McDonald's already been reprimanded, and they didn't do it. So they are responsible for the temperature of the coffee. The coffee damaged, harmed a person. Had they turned down the temperature of the coffee, that probably wouldn't have happened.
It was the lady, she spilled it herself, right? It wasn't the person handing it to her spilled it in her lap. Is that right?
No, she had it between her knees because there were no cup holders in the car. She opened the lid to add creamer and sugar, and she spilled it in her lap. And let's see.
Okay, so this is now we're talking about sloppiness. There should have been someone assisting her with placing the creamer and the sugar in her coffee. Like,
No.
why is a 79-year-old woman
That wouldn't matter.
just like,
That wouldn't matter.
My dad's
if the
85. He goes
coffee
to
wasn't-
drive-throughs and takes care
If
of
the
the
coffee
shit.
wasn't hot, if the coffee wasn't as hot as it was to burn somebody, and she added something that spilled on her, it wouldn't have burned her. That's the point. The point of it is that the coffee was so hot, it burned her to a degree that she was hospitalized.
So, McDonald's had received over 700 previous burn complaints before
There you
this
go.
event happened.
There you go.
And a McDonald's quality control manager admitted the coffee was not fit for consumption, which I think is just basically the default response for all of their food, isn't it? I mean, that sounds like an easy job, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see this. If you go to a Denny's and get drip coffee, which McDonald's has drip coffee, here's how you do it. You put it into the machine and you take a big bag, you put it in the machine, and it goes out into an urn or a glass container. And what you're looking at is 135 to 145 degrees at a regular coffee shop. That's what a black drip coffee should be. It's not a specialty coffee. It's Folgers crystals, effectively. And if you're looking at 190 degrees in terms of coffee, let's take a look at this. And it's interesting to note that McDonald's received a whole bevy of complaints about people being burned. So corporate negligence, there's four prongs to corporate negligence. Duty of care. The manufacturer has a legal obligation to exercise reasonable care in design, manufacture, and distribution of their products to ensure they are safe for consumers. This duty extends to all foreseeable users of the product. Breach of duty. The manufacturer fails to meet the expected standard of care, which can manifest in several ways. Design defects. The product's inherent design is flawed, making it unreasonably dangerous. Manufacturing defects. The product was produced with a flaw that makes it dangerous, even if the design is generally safe. Inadequate warnings. The product lacks adequate warnings or instructions about potential hazards. Causation. The manufacturer's breach of duty must be the actual and proximate cause of plaintiff's injury or damage. This means the harm would not have occurred but for the manufacturer's negligence, and the harm was a foreseeable consequence of that negligence. So looking at this, duty of care, the manufacturer had an obligation. McDonald's, who manufactured the coffee product that was being sold, had a duty of care. And it looked like it failed in that duty of care to provide a product that was safe for consumption. And Willem, I think, Willem, you were the one who said that there were 700 complaints about that coffee, and the manager said this is not fit for human consumption. Breach of duty. Manufacturer.
I have to object, though, Jason, because the cups are labeled accordingly.
Caesar,
They have,
you are incorrect in this case, and it's because there's something in the law called the reasonable person standard. And a reasonable person, if you tell them, coffee is optimally served no hotter than 150 degrees. Drip coffee is ideal. The optimum temperature is no hotter than 150 degrees. This coffee was near boiling at 190 degrees. There were 700 complaints, and this went unheeded. Even the manager, the person producing and selling the coffee product, said this was not fit for human consumption. So looking at this under the standard that we look at the 4 prongs of corporate negligence, manufacturing defects, the product was produced with a flaw that makes it dangerous, even if the design is generally safe. The design of a hot cup of coffee is not necessarily safe, but 150 degrees is a lot less likely to give you as extensive of burns as spilling 190 degrees of coffee in your lap. And this sometimes it happens.
Warned, though, on the coffee cup itself, it tells you, it stipulates the contents are hot.
But they
It
should be
says
ready to
190
serve.
degrees on the
But
cup.
they should be ready to serve. And in this case, 190 degrees is not ready to serve. It's not fit for consumption. So if it's
Yeah.
180 degrees,
Why the hell do they have it 40 degrees higher than all the other places up there?
well, I imagine that's what the woman who sued them successfully probably was able to say.
And then,
Yeah.
and then here, the manufacturer's breach of duty must be the actual and proximate. And the actual, it's like if you ate a McDonald's burger 4 days later after it was sitting in your car and you got sick, then you cannot successfully sue McDonald's because it's not the proximate cause of damage. It's not the proximate cause. Proximate means it's the immediate. But looking at this, the manufacturer's breach of duty must be the actual and proximate cause of the plaintiff's injury or damage. This means the harm would not have occurred but for the manufacturer's negligence. So she might have wound up with a smaller burn, but you don't expect to go to McDonald's and spill tea or coffee on yourself and have to get skin grafts. You don't expect that. That is something extreme. And considering this was a known problem.
That's also, Jason, honest to goodness.
Caesar, I think you're
this is-
assuming
this is-
that
This
it
is
was
someone
not her.
that is old. Obviously, they're
For what?
very
wasn't just
delicate.
Yeah, but it wasn't just
They're
her.
fragile.
I looked it up.
this
It wasn't
is-
just her. Infants and other adults were injured as well. So basically, this coffee was way too hot. It was far hotter than you would otherwise expect from a product that you're consuming. And if you've ever tried to open a cup of coffee from McDonald's or another place, a plastic lid, sometimes it slips and you splash yourself. But you don't expect the coffee to be 40 degrees hotter than it would otherwise be.
Haven't we strayed away from the original story?
A little bit.
I would.
So
You remember what?
but effectively, this was the Thai restaurant, and the woman at the Thai restaurant ordered something that was advertised as spicy, and then she said, "Can you make it less spicy?" And this is a woman who said, "I cannot handle spice," and she wound up firing her lawyer. So something tells me that looking at that, Well, let's look at the 4 prongs of negligence again on this one. So, a duty of care. The manufacturer has a legal obligation to exercise reasonable care in the design manufacturer. So, the duty of care. So, you're at a Thai restaurant and you're making a spicy meatball. Now that's a spicy meatball.
That's the meatball.
And so, a breach of
well.
a breach of duty, design defects. The product's inherent design is flawed, making it unreasonably dangerous. That does not appear to be the case with this.
I will say that if somebody has a low tolerance for spicy food, maybe, a Thai restaurant would not be the place to go.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Right. And then also, to expect, like, that's a pretty subjective thing though, like spicy, because I can take really, really, really spicy food. Right. So it's really subjective. And the people at the Thai restaurant, I know nothing about this case, I came in late, but they might have tried to actually make it less spicy, but you're at a Thai restaurant with a low tolerance for spice. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Well, no,
it's
and
kind of on you.
you're right, Will.
Darcy.
Like honestly, it's a matter of do you want ketchup? Like, what is it? What and they put it on a scale of like 1 to 10, and if I want a 10, then hey, that's what I asked for. It's no different than when I traveled to Peru and I had their soup out there. It's adobo. And they put this, it looks like a massive tomato, and they just like drop it in your soup, but it's hot. And again, you have to take ownership of it.
So this physician is representing herself in this lawsuit, which,
She has a fool for a client.
yeah, but I mean that a neurologist, right? So somebody with some money is representing themselves. So that kind of says nobody wants the case. That to me, I don't know, but it
Yeah.
sounds like she couldn't get a lawyer because it sounds incredibly frivolous. And
No, it looks like she fired her lawyer.
well, I don't know. Like probably because the lawyer said something rational, maybe. But yeah,
Well,
like unless there's physical harm that could be proven, like I mean, maybe she's got something. But yeah, just in general, if she's representing herself, it's not a good sign.
How is a dose of capsaicin in a Thai restaurant going to physically scar you, give you permanent damage? How is that going to? And I mean, ultimately, if she says she's not spice tolerant,
Yeah.
she should there's a difference between a woman who splashes coffee in her lap and because she accidentally does it in a parking lot trying to put cream in, and she gets a series of third-degree burns, and somebody deliberately ordering something they know to be really spicy or assumed to be really spicy, advertised as spicy.
They're called Dragon Balls. Like, I mean, that's in the name, Dragon Balls. Like, I'm looking at the case. Like, she ordered something called Dragon Balls. Like, if I'm going to order like Dragon Balls, I demand a certain amount of spice in my Dragon Balls. Like, I mean, like they're not called Dragon Balls for nothing. There's the dragon. What if dragons breathe? Right? Like, I mean, she ordered Dragon Balls.
Well, this is exactly.
Now I'm just going to keep on repeating Dragon Balls for the next few minutes.
I find like
Fun to say, isn't it?
there's like way too much delicacy, and you go to a restaurant. It's because I've worked as a server and as a bartender, and like I don't like it when people come up and tell me, "Oh, this doesn't have, you know, it doesn't have enough umph. It does not have enough alcohol." Or, "Oh, you know," and it's like, just tell me, lady. Like, honestly, do you want do you, do you want more alcohol in your beverage? Or or on the converse side, like with food, in that, "Oh, this food is just way too spicy." And this is why I can't work in the restaurant industry, is that people are way too fucking picky.
Yep. Well, there's a, you know what? I think there's a huge difference from the first case and from the coffee case and this, because there was an expectation of a certain temperature from the coffee, and then there was, and let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. Do you know what a Scoville heat unit is?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are you familiar with Scoville heat units?
Can't say as I am.
A Scoville heat unit is the unit of measure that's usually that's focused on how spicy something is from its amount of capsaicin, from the potency of the capsaicin in the product. So looking at this, your serrano pepper, your jalapeno or serrano pepper is 10,000 to 25,000 Scoville units. Those are the types of peppers you get from the pickled jalapenos. Actually, there might be a better source on Wikipedia. Zero? Okay, gradient. Bell peppers are 0. Banana peppers are 0 to 500. I'll just share this with you. I'll share this with you. Okay, here's your Scoville units. Cubanelles, Beaver Dam peppers, poblano peppers, 2,500. Jalapenos, I was wrong. Jalapenos are 2,500 to 10,000 Scoville units. Serranos are 10,000 to 25,000. Tabasco sauce is 25,000 to 50,000. Thai chilies are 50,000 to 100,000. Habanero chilies are 100,000. I know that.
So the chili in this
goes-
lawsuit is the bird's eye chili. So it's
Yes.
right there in the
Sure,
middle. It's not even,
but-
yeah.
But the thing is, Jason, like at a certain point, people need this is my qualm, is that people need to take accountability for what they assume. Like, if I go to a restaurant and I say that I want a 9 or I want a 10 or whatever, that's my issue. This is what I ordered.
But at this one, here's the thing: 100,000 Scoville unit amount of capsaicin from a dish is not going to permanently harm anyone. Immediately after the nerves calm down from consuming this, you're fine. 100,000 units of capsaicin is not going to provide a burn. It's going to provide a burning sensation. It's kind of like using Bengay. It will not.
Then a
permanently harm you.
79-year-old woman should not be dining anywhere. She should,
Caesar,
she
this
should
is-
be in
this-
a
this is
convalescent
not
home.
No, this is not about her. This is not about her. And that was a case where she was rightfully awarded damages. But looking at this, I think this is a situation where you have a responsibility that if you can't handle spice and something is advertised on the menu as being spicy and you're at a Thai restaurant, Because it's like this, like habanero salsa at Mexican restaurants is spicier than this thing. And if you've ever had habanero salsa,
Then don't
you,
go to a fucking Thai restaurant. Don't go to fucking McDonald's. Go to an In-N-Out. If you can't, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Sounds to me like there just need to be a lot more communication in regards to all this. Communication helps a great deal.
well, this one seems like a frivolous lawsuit because the thing is that it was advertised as spicy, and that Thai food is known to be a higher grade of spice. But here's one last point that I'd add to this: that some of us, Mickey is not here yet, but some of us need really, really spicy food. We need really spicy food. We love really spicy food. And
Yeah,
if you've
that's
ever
me.
gone, if you've ever gone out to a place with me, an Indian place or a Thai place, do you know what I tell them? I tell them this: don't make it white people spicy.
I know how to order spicy in Thai. It's Pet Mak. Like that's
Yeah.
I have the language down. Like I needed spicy too.
Yeah.
I added tapatio sauce to my pasta.
Yep. And plus, the only thing you're going to feel spice from a day later eating 100,000 Scoville units is when you're sitting on the toilet. Honestly, that's it. So this is silly. And also if she got burned and her skin was scalded, it was from the actual temperature of the appetizer when she was eating it. It wasn't from the spicy nature of the
No,
dish.
Did I hear
it
you guys
was-
say she's 79 years old?
No, that
Oh.
was the older woman at McDonald's who
right.
spilled the coffee in her lap.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this person. This person seems quite young.
What does she look like? I'm curious.
Well, I'll just send the link.
Yeah. So yeah.
There,
All right.
second link.
Kieran, welcome. Welcome to the chat. We're streaming live on YouTube right now, and we have me watching it. Let's see.
It's sheer irresponsibility, is what it is.
Still looking at this.
It's their own damn fault. That's
how does she
I'm
prove?
gonna stand
How does she prove this? Because, like I said, looking at the four prongs of negligence in corporate negligence, legal obligation to exercise reasonable care in design, manufacture, and distribution of the products to ensure they're safe. And
So-
people want spicy things at a Thai restaurant, and 100,000 Scoville units is not going to damage your skin or tissue.
So I'm not a lawyer, but it says here that she was diagnosed with internal chemical burns from the chilies. So she has a medical diagnosis from another physician that says that that she suffered chemical burns likely due to the chilies. She might. That sounds like pot. I mean, she could provide evidence. She might have something, but it still sounds incredibly frivolous.
she had preconditions. There was something back there, and like to make all this fanfare about now her burning herself at McDonald's, like, come on, it's fucking ridiculous. The woman had issues beforehand.
What issues?
Yeah, well, couple. Like she might have a pre-existing condition, but she might we think that because people are doctors and neurologists that they're entirely stable, but Like, not every doctor is operating on all 8 cylinders.
Well,
The,
no doctor is operating on 8 cylinders. Like every doctor that I've gone to or that I've taken my mother to, it's just about, oh, let's prescribe you this medication. We'll give you this, you know, this will, and oh, you have contraindications from this medication, so let's just give you another medication to just cover it.
A
And
couple
it's
ye Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no and
Well, so a couple years ago, one that stands out for me is a couple years ago here at UCLA at the Medical Center at Ronald Reagan, there was somebody, an internist, like somebody who had completed like medical school, had finished, was doing their what's it called when their residency.
residents.
Yeah.
residency.
And she
Residency.
was stealing iPads and like but I mean she was caught and like I forget the details of the case, but it was obvious it was basically a career self-destruct right at the beginning. I mean she was stealing like all the iPads off from the hospital like and like like why would you, like, unless there's like that part, that aspect of her was a manifestation of some other like breakdown that she was having in her life, right? That was expressing itself. Like, why would you? Which I almost would kind of understand, if she's having a breakdown, but like outside of that, why destroy your life after investing so much in it at right out of the gate?
Yeah, that's pretty sad. Are you
And
talking
she's
about EYE pads or
no,
I
the devices, the tablets,
devices? Okay.
right? She was stealing them from the hospital, and like the whole
Mm.
thing made no sense because you can't really get away with stealing iPads anyway. But it was just, and she was named, and her name is out there, and it's forever connected. People Google search her, they're going to find this. When she's going to any other job, are you the
Jesus
so and so who
Christ.
stole the
She's
iPads?
suing the restaurant and its owner, along with the chef and the waitress.
The waitress. No way.
Yeah. And then she's also taking legal action against anyone at the restaurant that day or before who in any way influenced, designed, prepared, and participated in creating the Dragon Ball dish. Walia also accused the defendants of not training staff to serve Thai iced tea or some other dairy-based product if the customer had a bad reaction to spice intensity. She allegedly drank an entire glass of coconut water and more water, but the burning, you don't, like, fuck, if you're a doctor, you should know you don't drink water when you have capsaicin.
Well, that's why she mentioned the milk-based products, but
hell?
still, this would be so easy to defend against. Seems like
That's
she
why
didn't have a
that's
case.
why she's suing on her own. She fired her lawyer.
Oh,
And
okay,
this
yeah.
is
I can tell
one
you
of
firsthand that
I
doctors
don't
come in a
I don't
spectrum
like
of
going. Oh,
right
and
to
I'm
idiots.
sorry. I'm sorry to interject. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I've known many, many physicians over the course of my life, and they come in all kinds, and then they can be brilliant and they can be complete morons. So it just depends.
Well,
So,
yeah.
so I just looked up the
This
case
is
I was
why
talking about.
when I go out to eat, if I decide to go out to just to eat at any establishment, I want to see the kitchen. I want to see what they're doing. I don't like, because oftentimes
I'm not gonna let you back there.
with restaurants, there's like this secretive nature, right? In the, oh, we're gonna take it in the back, and I have no idea if this person has washed their hands. I also don't know if they've washed the lettuce. I want to see it. I want to see what they're doing. Does
They're not
that
going to let
make
you back there.
sense?
They're not going to let you back there.
Well, of course they're not going to let me back there.
Okay.
But
All right. So wait. Hold on, Caesar. All right, Willem, you were saying something?
Yeah, I'm typing it in chat. I misspoke. So I had most of the details right. She stole an iPad from a dying cancer patient. This is the one I was talking about, this medical student, and was put on a 6-month suspension and then dismissed from UCLA and was never able to be hired again, was never able to be admitted again to any other medical program. So it's just like, but shit, in this case, this person had made it so far, they'd gotten to medical school and then imploded. And that was the point. I was tying this to that because sometimes people just have other things going on in their lives and they just melt down. And like, I wouldn't, discount that happening in this case, because here's a neurologist, pretty, assumed pretty well put together, having some kind of control, and she's suing a restaurant over spicy food.
Oh, she's not just the restaurant. She's suing the owner of the restaurant, the manager of the
and
restaurant,
the poor
cook,
waitress.
and the waitress, and anyone who was there that day or previously who had any hand in developing that appetizer. Thank God she didn't go to Panda Express, because General So has a sword, for Christ's sake, and an army. Fucking shit.
It almost sounds like she's reacting to some other unrelated bad event in her life.
Oh, yeah. I don't know this person, but Jesus Christ. Thai food is inherently known to be spicy.
Right? That's
And
the whole
anyway,
point for some
she said
people.
it filled her nose and her mouth with the feeling of fire. And you know what? I want to eat at that restaurant now.
I was
because
about to say, like, I think the restaurant would miss out if they didn't use this to advertise the spiciness of it.
Yeah, all they have to do is find a couple of customers they ate the same thing that day and they've got a defense. I mean, it's not their restaurant.
There's gonna be a Food Network visit to that place.
Well,
And
how
that
many people
one-
do you think
Adam
know about
Richards
this
is
case
gonna-
that are now going to that restaurant to see how spicy it is because of this? Like, how much business did this actually probably generate for that restaurant?
Right. You
There is
suppose
no bad
secretly
publicity,
she's related
right?
to one of them. It's just like,
It's
this
no
is all a
bad
promo.
publicity.
All
Yeah.
publicity is good publicity.
Let's see.
Something our commander-in-chief knows all too well.
I mean, it's so spicy it causes chemical burns. I got to try it at least once.
I love the name of this Thai restaurant, Puda Thai.
Got a death wish, dude.
Yeah.
All right,
kind of a good pun.
Also, let's see this restaurant, okay? Dining at Kuda Thai is a true revolution of the senses. Fireworks light up your mouth from our traditional menu that puts the Thai back in the command of Thai food. Bond together with friends and family in the camaraderie of the shared meal. Our renowned wine and sake sommelier has selected the perfect wines and sakes to accompany our cuisine. So choose your utensils and let the takeover begin. I love this. Kuda Thai. All right, our menu. Let's see if they still have it on the menu. All right.
Dragon
let's see.
Ball.
Out of the appetizers, there's only one that has
a pepper,
like a spice. You could have got the legendary calamari, the chicks on a stick. So you could have got anything. Anything.
I'm jealous of the menu. I mean, just the Cokes around here, the restaurants are $12.
Seriously, bacon, bourbon, orange bitters, and smoke.
$12 anymore. You can't even go to Burger King.
I know, these are good deals. I should move to San Jose.
Is that what oh yeah.
And, well, Los Gatos, I think it's in the
Los
region.
Gatos is, yeah, that's right by San Jose.
Yeah. Yeah, I live in Santa Monica, and $12 is a Coke at the restaurants here.
Jeez. I used to live there.
hyperbole, but
God
I'm
damn it,
probably
this
not
food
far
looks
off.
too good. Well, they're opening a halal guys in Hillcrest, and they have a ghost pepper hot sauce that they serve. I used to be a regional corporate trainer for a DBA that ran 4 halal guys, where I had to be there for quality control. And the hot sauce at halal guys is ghost pepper, and it's 150,000 Scoville units. And at that place, when I worked there, you could add it yourself, or you could ask them to add it on your dish. And there were people who said, just give me a lot of hot sauce. And you'd say, well, do you want to try it first? Do you want to try it first? And the answer is no. Are you sure? Ours is not like Tabasco sauce or Cholula. It's 150,000 Scoville units. It's ghost peppers. And of course, they try to return their dish after they ask you to put the really hot sauce on. And the thing is, you would often just replace the dish because you want them to come back. That's the whole goal in a restaurant. Additionally, we used to do at my place a couple of years ago, we did a Thursday night dinner. Every Thursday night, we would have a dinner at my place. I would cook. And this guy showed up. We advertised it on Meetup. This guy showed up, and my roommate Josh and I had really, really, really spicy hot sauce. And this guy wanted hot sauce. He started rummaging through our cupboards to find hot sauce, and he just grabbed one from the cupboard. I think he got Da Bomb, if you know that one.
Haven't heard it.
This one is Da Bomb is 320. Let's see. Oh yeah, we have the final answer from Da Bomb, and it's 1.5 million Scoville units. And this dickhead came. They got Da Bomb final answer, and he just doused his plate in this thing that's 1.5 million Scoville units. You just need a drop of it. And he freaked. It's like, I need milk. It's like, that's what you get for rummaging through someone's cupboards. So anyway, back on to topics. China had an auto show, and at this auto show, there were lots of EVs there, including the Luxeed R7, a mid-sized sport utility vehicle. Let's see, one of these vehicles, these EVs, has a range of 1,000 miles between charges.
And how is that going to benefit this country? Like, what is that going to do for us?
What's the range between charges again?
1,000 miles.
Okay.
What's the standard EV range per
like 300 or something?
Yeah, definitely
Oh,
not that. Yeah.
Yeah, and where are the charging stations is what I'm concerned about.
Oh, they're all over. And they keep building more. But that's one of the things that people are afraid of about buying an EV, is the fact that it has such a limited range. And then you go 300 miles and you got to charge it for an hour. So let's say you're going on a cross-country road trip. It takes far more time. But with that, this is great in terms of, just because one or two vehicles are now having 1,000-mile range, that means there's a possibility for it, and it's on the market.
Well, what's the brand again? Is it that BYD car?
And Tesla.
Yeah, it's not Tesla. That's the other thing. The brands are
This is made in
Luxeed
China?
R7, I
Is it
believe
the
so.
European?
Cherry Auto and Huawei. And the
What?
Huawei car starts at $42,000 US. That's before tariffs.
Got a logo in Chinese, man. 1,000. Wow.
Yeah, we're never
Yeah.
going to see them in the U.S.
We're not?
Not the Chinese cars.
No?
No. It's too much of a security risk. Those cars are basically computers on wheels.
Yep.
And when they're all Wi-Fi like that, it's we have a lot. So not in addition to just the stupid, tariffs that Trump did on just a white across, there are strategic restrictions on Chinese components because the Chinese are known to put extra electronics in the components that they send here, like routers and inverters and all that kind of stuff, that are able to communicate back to China and able to, like, let's say, turn the inverter off in case it's connected to a power grid. So it's just too much of a security risk, and so we don't see Chinese cars here at all, and we're not likely to. So
It's
so
like
these and
TikTok, Wilhelm.
yeah. Plus, what's happening is China is flooding the world with these cars, and so other countries. We've already had defensive measures against that kind of dumping
So,
for cars, but other countries in the world are doing it as well, restricting Chinese
it's
access to their
great,
markets.
great having longer ranges. Awesome.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good that the technology's out there. We're not going to see it from those cars
It's
here in the
also
U.S.
it's
Stop it.
also
Oh, God, sorry.
it's no different than what we did with Saab, what we did uh with Scandia, with whatever other brand that we've just we don't have any reprieve. So, and like, why have we scaled back? Like, why don't we have Alfa Romeo, for instance, stateside? I mean, it's an honest brand, and I feel that it should it should